everybody, my name is Miles and I want to be the first one to welcome you. Please everybody put yourself on silent. Adam will be out in just a moment, but I think you already know this is not a normal book tour. I'm here to tell you this whole evening will not work without your participation. In fact, we're going to actually need your help singing, asking questions, and playing games. Don't worry, you'll all know if it's the right time. You are all here because you care about making the world a better place. It's very serious, but there is no point of doing this unless you're also having fun. So let's do that! Now that we've got that out of the way, here's Adam!
This is crazy. Wow. So, if any of you have been to any of our shows before, you know that we start our tours not in New York City. And there's a reason why we do that. So our last tour, we started in Norfolk, Virginia, kind of. The first show got canceled, but you start in places that are not New York because you get to experiment, you get to try things, and by the time you get to New York or LA, you have the show perfected, right? So if you've ever done any kind of theater, you know a Broadway show doesn't start on Broadway, it starts in like Teaneck, New Jersey or something like that. If anyone's from, someone from Teaneck, New Jersey? Oh my God, wow, incredible. So that is just to say that tonight is going to be the Teaneck, New Jersey of this book tour. There's a lot that's going to go on tonight that I have never tried really in front of an audience before. So we are going to experiment. We are going to try some weird things. We're going to play some games together. I'm really, really, really going to expect you to sing. Really going to expect you to sing. And yeah, I think we'll probably start there. So when I was a kid, I liked to do a lot of different things at the same time. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that. So here is one thing I like to do. Do we have piano sound? See, great start to the show. So that was me in 5th grade doing a project about John Lennon. But at the same time as I was doing that, I also was filled with a lot of contradictions. I don't know why anybody would wear these two pieces of clothing at the same time. Like, who would be a Knicks fan and also wear that tie-dye shirt? I was also a bar mitzvah DJ. I was a bird watcher, apparently. I was also an Italian waiter at a restaurant who sang, and I was a pirate, and I was also whatever this is. And honestly, I liked doing so many things at the same time because I couldn't focus on one thing, and that was probably an undiagnosed medical problem. But I also really liked getting my fingers in a lot of different things and exploring and learning. And for me, one of the reasons why I fell into climate is because climate is the same thing. Climate is so many different things put together, and it allowed me to explore in a really interesting way. Climate is, oh, I forgot about this. Even as an adult, I kind of did a lot of different things. This was me a couple of weeks ago, but this is also me. Probably most of you in the audience know me from this. But this is also me. And then, to get back to what I was saying before, climate is this, climate is also this, and climate is this. But I don't want to focus on these tonight. Yeah. Have any of you ever been in that situation? It's because you don't live in Teaneck, New Jersey. But really, honestly, climate is also this, and this, and this. We couldn't find a good GIF of electric cars because they were all Teslas, and obviously we don't want to be supporting Teslas right now. So we just chose SpongeBob instead. Yeah, of course, of course. So, okay, let's talk about fans for a moment. So the first, 5 or 10 minutes of this show, program, whatever you want to call it, is going to be setting the groundwork before we get into some of the specific strategies that are included in this book. So, fans. I've spent the last 18 years working on this band, but at the same time observing how fan bases come together. So, there are fans of this, which is obvious, right? But there are also fans of this, which is still obvious. There are fans of oh, okay, wait, no, we missed one. There's fans of this. There's fans of religion. And when writing this book, I was thinking about all the different types of fans and what made people become fans. And for AJR, I really observed what it took to go from 1 fan to 5 fans, to 10 fans, to 100 fans. And even in a place like New York, we never really skipped a venue. So it doesn't really exist anymore, but the first kind of real headline show we played was at the studio at Webster Hall. It was in the basement down there. There were a couple of hundred people there. And we played Studio at Webster Hall, we played Gramercy, Bowery, Irving Plaza, Terminal 5, Hammerstein Ballroom, Radio City, we played Forest Hills Stadium, and then this past summer we did a couple nights at Madison Square Garden. We really never skipped a step in growing our fan base. So it made me think a lot about how to turn this into this. And so tonight is going to be about all the different ways to turn this into this. Now, you are here because you know I have a book out that comes out at midnight today or tomorrow. And I'm not going to be able to get through all of the points in the book, so we're going to kind of condense it and go through a couple of fun different stories. So these are some of the things we're going to hit today. And you might not recognize what some of these are, but just bear with me because these were the best graphics we could find. Upper right-hand corner, that's supposed to be collaboration. Please just go with it. The live space, the hurricane, right? The hurricane. We have gaming, we have technology, we have a tent for the whole chapter on how to build a bigger tent, right? And this is storytelling. So we're going to start with the hurricane because I know it sounds the strangest. So, historically, in both the music world and in the movement world, growing a fan base has generally used this idea of a ladder of engagement. It's in the literature, there's been a lot of studies about this. And when you think about a ladder, people start on one rung and they move up to the next rung, right? So the first rung might be you hear a song in the supermarket and you're like, oh, that's interesting. The next rung might be you go follow a band on social media. You might go to a show. You might buy some merch. You might become a super fan and try and get other people to show up. You go up and up and up and up this ladder. In 2025, that doesn't work anymore. And movements are still using that strategy of a ladder, but it really doesn't work either in music or in movements. There's a new model, and I really like this metaphor of a hurricane. So I'm going to describe to you what I mean. For AJR, when we first built our fan base, the first fans were really close to us. We brought them in really close and gave them access to the thing they wanted. We gave them early access to tickets, to the music, to us. We were in communication with them. They then became evangelizers for everything that we did. The people who first became our fans, we actually did living room shows in their own homes. And I think there are some people here tonight who we actually went to their living room and did shows in their living room for them. Yeah, you. I can't see you at all, but you. That idea is exactly what we need to be doing for movements, bringing people close to the center of it and then giving them the tools to go out and be evangelizers to help grow bigger movements. You'll see what I mean when I talk about some of the other topics. But when I talk about ladders and hurricanes, this is the idea that I'm talking about. Okay, first kind of big topic is storytelling. Storytelling might seem really simple, obvious. Yes, we need to tell really good stories for movements. Every movement does need a good story, but there are a lot of different strategies we can use in order to tell really effective stories. And I want to say that one more time because there's a really big difference between a good story and an effective story. A good story is one that you'll tell to somebody and they'll get excited about it and they'll say, oh, that's interesting. An effective story is one that will actually make people get up off their ass and do something. There's a big difference. So we're going to go through a couple of different storytelling strategies. Who is this?
Bob Dylan.
Thank you. Yes, this is Bob Dylan.
We'll soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changing.
Yeah, so Bob Dylan told stories. Bob Dylan told a lot of stories. Sometimes he told big, broad stories about change, like in this song. Sometimes he told really specific stories about people who were wrongfully accused. But the way Bob Dylan told stories was not telling you how you should feel. It was leading you to a place where you could decide how to feel for yourself. Think about that. If anyone can name this next person who's under the age of 50 in the audience, you're going to win. Ooh, you're kind of in the right space.
How about if we're over 50?
Thanks, Jim. Okay, anyone over 50? Phil Oakes, yes. Phil Oakes. Phil Oakes had a very different kind of storytelling, was around the same time one of the contemporaries of Bob Dylan. They actually talked, they met. Bob Dylan considered Phil Oakes to be a singing journalist, and Phil Oakes had a different approach to storytelling. Phil Oakes told you exactly how he wanted you to feel. Does that difference make sense? So here's one of the songs. Listen to the very last lyric here.
Oh, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of.
To be clear, he said, Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. Yeah. He was so explicit in so much of his music. He told you exactly how he wanted you to feel because he was so angry and frustrated with the state of the country. Another really interesting storytelling story. Who is this? Yes, Billie Holiday. This one is really interesting for me.
Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
Extremely powerful song. But the storytelling piece of it goes way beyond the song itself. If you haven't heard that song, please go home and listen to the whole thing. She started to play this song in a place called Cafe Society downtown here in the city. And when she did, it was the last song of her set. She would play this song, all of the servers would stop serving drinks, there would be a pin spotlight on her, all the lights would go down. She would sing this song in front of predominantly white audiences. And it was her last song, and she wouldn't bow or curtsy, no encore, she would just walk off the stage in order to make her audience uncomfortable. This storytelling technique of making your audience uncomfortable has been a thing that has grown really significantly, and we're going to see another example of it in a second. But being uncomfortable is a really important part of storytelling. Okay, how about this? Yes, Hamilton. So when Hamilton first was being developed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, he went to the White House and he performed it in the White House.
Alexander Hamilton.
You're rapping about Alexander Hamilton? Look, I appreciate you've chosen the pen versus the sword. I feel your struggle as you hustle. You've been dissed, disrespected, disenfranchised, but is kind of ridiculous.
This is 6 years later.
Is that what this is? No, I did not perform. I went this weekend.
It's supposed to be phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. He performed the first set of this poem.
Right.
He performed at the White House when we did this.
You're kidding.
No.
Is that now going to be a thing instead
I think
of
I
opening
should
in
get one of the
Connecticut and
Tonys.
thing? I think that's probably
That's
right.
mine.
So obviously Jon Stewart completely forgot that he had panned Hamilton when it was first played at the White House. But we were living in a very different time when it was first in the White House compared to the 6 years later when it was on Broadway. And one of the things that's interesting about this storytelling technique is that Lin-Manuel Miranda really understood when his audience was ready to hear this story. 6 years earlier, we were kind of coming out of a depression, and 6 years later, the economy was booming. People wanted to hear this kind of story, this kind of innovation, a new approach to what Broadway looked like. But honestly, I forgive Jon Stewart because when you're meeting Obama, it's just like you completely get flustered and it's totally fine. A year ago, I met Obama for the first time, and he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, so good to see you again." I had not met him before. I did not know what to do. Like, I had my phone in my hand, and so I thought, oh, the right thing to do is take a picture while he's reaching out his hand to shake my hand. So this happened. He was very nice about it. It's fine. Okay. Oh, okay, so anytime this comes up, this means it's a reminder for myself that I'm supposed to play something on the piano. But here's a caveat. So I played a little bit of piano when I was a kid, and then I gave it up. And I really regret giving it up, honestly. And so, I don't know, like 6, 7 months ago, I started to play the piano again a little bit, but I'm not great, so just bear with me. I might make some mistakes, so please just laugh along with me when I mess up, inevitably. So, I'm going to want you to guess what this song is. Hopefully you know it. What is it? Yes. Thank you. I messed up a little bit. Billy Joel. So, Piano Man. This storytelling technique is about compression. That song is 5 minutes and 37 seconds long. 5 minutes and 37 seconds almost never gets played on the radio. Billy Joel even had a song called The Entertainer where he talks about cutting a song down to 3 minutes and 5 seconds in order to get it played on the radio. Now, when you have a really good story like Piano Man, sometimes they'll play a long song on the radio, like Adele's Hello was over 5 minutes. There's a very kind of famous recent one that has gotten very popular, an artist who is remaking some of her old catalog, who did a 10-minute version of a song. Yeah, a 10-minute version of a song does work, but more often than not, because of the way social media and places like Spotify and Apple, because of the way the algorithms work, songs tend to be a lot shorter, and you tend to need to catch people from the very beginning. So you'll hear the choruses earlier. And so for that kind of storytelling technique, we need to be thinking about how we're telling these stories and movements to get people hooked from the beginning, and not telling stories that take 10 minutes, unless you're Taylor Swift, then you can take 10 minutes to tell a story. Oh.
Party just for you. We just want the money. Money just for you. I know you want the body. Party just for me. You ain't gotta dance. Dancing shit for free.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now.
How many people have seen this video? Yeah. So this video is an extremely powerful video. And this video, even more than the song itself, was the storytelling of it. This is kind of the new version. I mentioned in the Billy, when I was talking about Billie Holiday, that we were going to come back to a new version of what it means to kind of put something alongside a song in order to make people uncomfortable. This is the new version of this. So he kind of took it into I don't even remember what year it was, 2019, 18? 18, thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, this isn't about me going back to the piano again. Nobody? Okay, good. Fast car. This is the last storytelling technique, I promise, and then we're going to move on to something else. Fast car. Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. When this song, yeah, incredible, right? This song, when it first came out, it got to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. And then many years later, it was rediscovered by that same audience, but also reached a completely new audience when Luke Combs redid it in 2022. A white man who was a country artist was redoing a song by a black woman who was singing about poverty, trying to get out of this trap, her relationship with a partner, her relationship with a parent. And Luke Combs even left the lyric, "I worked in the market as a checkout girl," because he wanted to pay homage to what Tracy Chapman was doing. When Luke Combs put the song out, it got to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. It charted even higher than Tracy Chapman. Sometimes you need to retell stories again and again for them to reach different audiences in different ways. So, stories, incredibly important. All of these different storytelling techniques can be used in different ways. I'm going to let you think about that for a second while I go on to the next section, which is feet. And it kept trying to autocorrect this to F-E-E-T just over and over again. And I almost decided to take a picture of my feet and put it on here, but I thought that people would take a picture and try and sell it on the internet. So, featuring. Do we know what I mean by this? No. Okay, good. Featuring. So some of my favorite artists do this thing called featuring, where they get other artists to come on their songs in order to reach multiple audiences. So we have a couple of examples. What's the one on the upper right?
Bruno Mars.
Yes, Bruno Mars and Rosé. I looked it up. And it's ah-pa-ta-pa-ta. I don't know if that's what you do, but that's how the song goes. Ah-pa-ta-pa-ta, you know. Bruno Mars saw the extreme value of K-pop and decided to partner with a K-pop artist in order to try and reach a much broader and different audience from his own. What about the upper right? Or, yeah, your upper right. Telephone, yes, same thing. 2 different audiences, a lot of overlap there. It made sense. How about the bottom? And we forgot who the other person is, right? No, we forgot who Iggy Azalea is. Good for Charlie, right? So this next example is one of us and why featuring is so wildly important.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rivers Cuomo! My favorite color is you. You vibrating at my frequency.
Okay, Rivers Cuomo is the lead singer of the band Weezer. Weezer is an alternative rock band, and we were big fans. And he came on our song, Sober Up. And when he joined the song, we started to get the interest of audiences that we hadn't had before. For the first time ever, we got played on alternative radio. And Steve, our manager who is in the audience, he had this idea. He's right here. Hey, Steve. He had this idea to try and expand the audience of the band through this idea of featuring by taking an artist like Rivers Cuomo, who had a lot of goodwill at alternative radio, and pushed our music to alternative radio. Before that, we were not really able to tour in a significant way. People who listened to alternative radio and rock radio, they would come to shows. But people who just listened to pop radio weren't necessarily excited about coming to shows. So really, this was the beginning of us growing our audience in a really effective way, this idea of featuring. Now, what if we could do that for the movement space? What if we could feature movements, right? What does the gun movement and the climate movement have in common? Well, there's a study that came out of the University of Chicago that says for each degree increase in heat, for every degree that it gets hotter, there's 7% increase in gun-related deaths. There's a direct connection between climate change and gun deaths. So what if we could take the audiences, meaning the movements that participate in either of these, and use the people who participate in the gun sense legislation movement and have them work in climate and climate to work in guns? There's so much potential here for people who are working LGBTQ plus rights, for people who are working in healthcare and immigration, for merging these different audiences, featuring, if you will. Now, in the book, it goes so much more in depth than anything I'm talking about here, because we only have, an hour. But this is one of the things that I find the most interesting and where there's the most potential for growth. Okay. Oh my God, we're going to welcome our special guest for this evening. I forgot that this happened here. So, our special guest for this evening is somebody who is near and dear to my heart. I am going to talk to him for a little bit about his journey into the relationship with us, what he thinks about fandom, and how people are fans of him. This person is at Bloomberg. He is a journalist at Bloomberg. He is on Bloomberg Radio. He is also a voice that you probably hear every single day on the New York City subway. He says, "Stand clear of the closing doors." It is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Charlie Pellet.
Thank you so. Thank you.
Oh my God.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Charlie, you look amazing.
I'm coming from my day job.
Okay.
So, and you look amazing too.
Oh,
like you
stop
really
it.
clean up nice when you're not on the road. New York. Does it get any more New York than this? The 92nd Street Y, Dr. Adam Met, and the Stand Clear of the Closing Doors guys. And I got 3 more words for you. Here we go. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad I get to sit down. Thank you for coming out right now.
And let me, one more thing. I just want to show one more thing.
Okay,
Back
okay.
to you. Am I an AJR fan? You bet. Guess what I got here? Adam, you're on.
So
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you for joining me here, Charlie. So for those of you who don't know, Charlie is also the voice on our song Bang. And that's why he just said, "Here we go."
Bang, bang, bang.
Because that is literally him on the record.
I feel like I've been at every single concert that you guys ever did, with the exception of Norfolk.
Okay.
What the heck happened?
There was a problem with the structural integrity of the building, but we can talk about that another time. So wait, I want to hear the story about how you first discovered us and how you became a fan of AJR.
Okay, what are the 2 categories of stories? I wasn't paying attention. Effective?
Good stories and effective stories.
Okay, I got a good story. I don't have an effective story.
Okay, all right.
So
We'll forgive you.
He asked how this all came about. As Adam mentioned, I work at Bloomberg Radio, and it's an incredibly philanthropic company. We do a lot of different things. Had a couple of employees back in the early 90s, early 2000s, I'm not sure, who went to London, and they said, how is it that we can understand what you hear on the subways, the underground in London, but we can't hear it here in New York? And by the way, this is a story, I'm going to give you the punchline of the story, that I've never told in public before, so you guys are going to go away with a little bit of cool information tonight. And the staff was very small, and they asked, who would like to volunteer to do the announcements for these new subway cars that were coming out in New York? And roughly 10 of us volunteered. There was a fairly long list of announcements that you would hear on the subway. This is the last stop, everyone change, please leave the train, thank you for riding, New York City Transit. So we had, you've heard that one before. So we had all of these various announcements that we had to record, and I went down to the engineer, and you gotta love the audio people, no matter where you work, what you do, the audio people are key to anything, right? It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable, because if you know what you and I have in common? I have a tough time like with a single train of thought. So get me.
Yeah.
It's ironic for the train guy, but get me back on track, so to speak. So where were we? So I went down, started recording with the audio guy, and I said to the audio guy, I said, Steve, I don't have time for this crap, because we had other things to do. And he said, Charlie, I don't have time for this either. Let's just whip right through this. But they gave us a list of about 100 different announcements that they wanted recorded. And this is the part that I'm going to share with you. He said, give me a level, as you know how it is in showbiz, right?
Of course.
Give me a level. And I said, stand clear of the closing doors, please. That was number 1 on the list. He said, okay, let's go. And what you hear in the New York City subway system today is the first take.
Crazy.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please. Because I didn't think I was going to get it. It just, it is what it is.
You thought you were auditioning for the job?
Well, I don't think it was an audition at that point, but just so that you know, I got the visual aids. This is what it takes to ride the subway for Charlie Pellet. So it's, and by the way, they're trying to squeeze me away from the Metro card and bring out the Omni cards.
I'll help you when we get backstage.
Right.
I'll put everything in your phone.
Do you ride the subway?
Of course.
All right. Now here's...
No, only Uber helicopter.
Who was the one from Sex in the City? The 4 women.
Help, please. Who's the one from Sex in the City?
Anyway, the bottom line is Samantha. No, not Samantha. No, not Charlotte. Who's the other one? I ran into her.
One of the Sex in the City.
Yeah, right,
ladies.
exactly. I ran into, the one who was running for mayor. Cynthia Nixon. Okay, so I ran into Cynthia on the subway, had a nice chat with her see how I have a tough time getting back on track, but I rode the train with her from 14th Street up to 42nd Street. She was very nice, didn't get elected mayor, so.
Okay,
yeah.
So the question was,
yeah.
How did you become a fan of AJR?
Okay, how did I become a fan of AJR? Okay, and you can help me with this.
Yep.
I don't look like the typical AJR Democrat.
Hey.
No,
we have fans that are 8 years old to 80 years old. Everyone can appreciate AJR. You look like a quintessential AJR fan.
Let me give you the why before I give you the how.
Okay, fine.
The why, because your music is damn good, it's catchy, it's fun, and for the most part, it's pretty positive.
Okay.
And you got an incredible fan base, and I'm not sucking up to the audience, but just let me tell you something about the audience. For the most part, no, actually 100% of the people I've ever run into at AJR concerts, they are smart, intelligent, but what I most admire, they're sensitive. And right, does that sum it up? So how did I get connected with AJR? And you can update me on this. Sure. Somebody sent me a video of you guys doing a mashup of Stand Clear of the Closing Doors, Please, with Alicia Keys.
Yep.
Living in New York, right?
Yeah.
Was that in the basement of...
That was at the Gramercy Theater on 23rd Street.
Okay.
And we played the Gramercy Theater like 6 times because we couldn't grow our fan base for a while. That's a whole different story. I'll tell that the next time I come back.
And speaking of the fan base, did anybody see the Instagram video they put up like 3 days ago with you guys like at NYU? And no one was...
What?
Yeah.
Oh, when we were performing in Washington Square Park. And
is that where it was? And
yeah.
And the funny thing is, my son Jake used to go to Washington Square Park to do magic tricks. And I found out that he could make like $10 in an hour. So I'm like, hell, Jake, let's go to Washington Square Park. And then we got pushed aside by a fortune teller who insisted that we were in his spot. Now, I'm thinking if he was a good fortune teller, he would have known that we were coming. But that apparently didn't happen. So how did I become a fan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So somebody sent me a video.
We're going to get through one question in our allotted time.
And I couldn't figure out, because I've got so many questions for you, like the Broadway show. What's going on with the Broadway show?
Charlie?
Right. Broadway show. Okay, so where were we? How did I become a... And folks, this is the pre-drinking Charlie Pellet. I mean, this is...
You became a fan because
so I became a fan. Right.
Someone sent you the video of us doing this remix.
Okay, right, exactly. And, okay, the sensitive part of AJR, sometimes I cry easily. And there are a couple of times when I shed a tear. My wife would disagree, but there's a couple of times when things happen or I see things and I start shedding a tear, like when you see your fan base hanging out at a concert. And that makes me shed a tear in a positive way. And then I come to the 92nd Street Y and I shed a tear because I see cops outside. And that makes me sad. So there's tears of joy, tears of sadness, but the point is there's a sensitive element that I recognize with you guys. And with a concert, you guys are also talking to people who might be going through tough times. And I don't think you ever sat down in the room and said, we've got to do that. Speaking of sitting down in the room, when you and Jack and Ryan get together and somebody starts telling a story, do you ever say, let's get to the good part?
God, Charlie, I love you.
That never happens at the dinner table, right?
No,
Get to the good part. Get to the good part.
But you bring up a good point, because emotional resonance is something that's been really important to us. And some of the storytelling techniques that I was talking about before, we think a lot about in the live show. So if you've seen us live, there's a lot of storytelling, and there's kind of an arc with the shows where we try and get people really happy and then sad and then have them feel all of these different emotions over the course of this hour-and-a-half thing. And the people who can actually feel are the people who tend to come back. And that's been really, really important to us. But I'm going to ask you a different question so we can move on from this.
Can I hit the buzzer the next concert?
Yes.
No, okay.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
You mean the push the button thing?
Push the button, exactly.
Yeah.
Push the button, push the button, push the button.
That's kind of a niche reference for not our last tour, but the tour before. But yeah, it means he's a big
They were
fan.
there. These guys are fans.
So you obviously have fans too. So Charlie and I ran into each other at a gala like a week and a half ago, right? And somebody like the auctioneer, because they were raising money for something, and raising money for something, the auctioneer is like out in the audience trying to get people to bid to put nameplates on the backs of seats, right? And he wants people to donate a couple $100, $1,000, whatever it is. And then he goes up to Charlie and he's like, oh my God, it's Charlie Pellet. And the whole audience goes insane and is so excited that Charlie is there. What is that like for you to have fans?
I will go back to the MetroCard in my pocket. And it still takes this to ride the subway. So the answer is, I've got a day job. I have a wonderful job. I love what I do. I genuinely look forward to going to work on a Monday morning. That's a nice feeling to have. I work for a great company. I like what I do. And here's the thing with fans. Oh, I got to put in a plug, by the way. Speaking of fans, subway fans, we're rolling out the vintage subway trains next week.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be on the B and the Q line. Adam will be there in a conductor's hat. You'll be able to see him. No, I'm just...
I'm in. Oh, I'm in. Let's go.
So we're rolling out the vintage trains on the B and the Q line. It'll be in Brooklyn. It's 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Oh, no, I'm
Saturday.
not going.
All right, there we go.
No way.
11... can I just tell you one more Brooklyn story about fans? One more reason why I like and respect AJR is, for the most part, you guys start your concerts on time. Now, I was at a concert a while back in Brooklyn.
Most part.
And I'm not going to identify the artist because her songs, they're still in vogue. And how late was she? I mean, an hour and 40. What, you didn't have it on your calendar that you got a concert in Brooklyn?
We're going to be positive here tonight, Charlie.
Okay, thank you.
This is an uplifting event. We're not going to bash anybody,
exactly.
Except Jon Stewart gets to bash Hamilton.
Right. Where were we? This could become a running
What
shtick.
is it like for you to have fans?
Oh, to have fans, here's the deal. So at that event, at your table, did people know who you were?
Because they invited me.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're at the swanky event, and I'm thinking there's a lot of people from Good Morning America who are being honored, the guy who runs the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm thinking, holy crap, this guy fills stadiums across the country. Do they have any idea what this guy could do tonight, getting up and performing?
The question wasn't about me.
All right.
No.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm
No, you're
a
fine.
fanboy. What can I?
It's so nice.
I'm genuinely in awe.
That's so nice.
I would
so
say
happy
what
that
was
you're
the
here.
question, but I would say what was the question? But what's it like having fans? And the answer is, okay, I make it a point for anybody who ever wants me to do a picture or a video, 100% of every. So Randy's going to be
so
on late
nice.
night tonight. I will always do it for anybody and for everybody, and it's the least I can do.
Charlie, that is delightful. Thank you.
That's not the answer. Was that the answer you were looking for? No.
It was great.
All right.
It's great. Okay, I'll give you one question for me, but it can't be about the Broadway show.
Okay. Oh, one question for you?
Yes.
Who was responsible for one of the things that really galvanized my love for AJR? And I'm not going to use the word that you guys use, but you say, if there are any blanking racists here, everybody knows the rest?
What is it? Yeah.
Who came up with that?
I'm pretty sure that was Ryan.
Okay, that's not
We got to give Ryan the credit. Come on, let's give Ryan the credit.
But for, I mean, that resonates because that's a core feeling that I have.
Yeah.
And
honestly, when we're at a place like Madison Square Garden and we're playing that and every person in the audience sings that, that's just ridiculous. It's incredible to have that many people on the same page about something.
Right. Do I get to ask another question? Because that was like, you can stay on track. You're focused.
What do we think? Does he get to ask another question?
Thank you.
One more.
I'm ripping off Dr. Met. What's it like having fans?
Wow. How can I answer this without going in 12 different directions? Oh, wait, you already...
Yeah, right, exactly. Doesn't stop me.
Honestly, it's been a really interesting journey for me because I have two kind of distinct but overlapping fan bases. And it's kind of summed up in this very short story, I promise. A handful of years ago, we were in Omaha, Nebraska, and we were playing a show just across the border in Iowa. And we played this show, but right before the show, I went to give a talk at a climate protest. And the climate protest was great. There were a lot of people out there, but all of the protesters were talking about rising sea levels in Nebraska. Doesn't really make sense for the audience, right? So I get up and I give a talk, which comes later to be known as Know Your Shit. And it wasn't kind of shaming the people who were there, but sorry, I said shit. For the kids in the front row.
You see how I danced around the effort?
But after I did that, it was one of the first times where I really started to develop my own voice in the climate space. And I went back to the show, we did our show, go to the airport the next morning to fly to LA. And a mother and daughter come up to me in the airport and they said, "We loved seeing you yesterday, thank you so much." And I was like, "Oh, you were at the show, great." And they were like, "No, what do you mean you had a show?" They saw me at the protest and they started to think about climate in a different way. They started to think about what they can do in their lives. They started to think about how to talk about these issues to other people. And of course, we have an incredible fan base that is the AJR fan base. But when I heard that for the first time, that made me realize that I was meant to do multiple things.
Are we going to fix climate?
Are we going to fix climate? Isn't that the question? Yes, of course we are.
Yeah.
We have to.
Because we're smart, we can make it happen.
Charlie,
Yeah.
you are incredible. Thank you so much for coming out to talk to me.
Absolute pleasure.
We have to do one thing before he goes.
Yep.
Charlie normally has walk-off music. So we're going to let him participate in this. So all of us together as an audience, we're going to go bang, 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 and he's going to say his line so we can all hear it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Bang, bang, bang.
Here we go.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you so much.
You're the best.
Thank you. Good night.
You're the best. Oh, isn't he incredible? Like, of course that's the guy that's on the subway. Amazing. Okay, we are going to get back to it. Games. Games are an incredibly important tool for building really effective movements and building really effective fan bases. Who's that? Amazing. Taylor Swift uses a technique in gaming where she puts her fans in competition with each other. They all compete in order to get a prize, whether that's, playing games on the internet. She's broken the internet multiple times. I don't really know what that means, but apparently she's broken the internet multiple times. Competition is the strategy that she uses with her fans. Who's this? 21 Pilots. 21 Pilots uses a different gaming technique. They use something called world building. For any people who have played video games before, they do what they do in video games, and each album they add more to this story of this world and let the fans play in this world. Has anyone played any of the 21 Pilots kind of games before? Yeah, a couple people. They're really hard. They're like incredibly hard. It's crazy. This is us. Oh yeah. We used a different kind of technique for game building that could actually be really effective in movements, and it hasn't really been used before in movements, but one of the things that I talk about in the book, in the gaming chapter, is about how it can be used effectively in movements. We forced our fans to collaborate in order to solve a problem. A couple of years ago, for our album OK Orchestra, we took the track list and we divided it up into 36 different puzzle pieces. We took each of those puzzle pieces and sent it out to different areas of our fan base. Some on Twitter. Yeah, I'm always going to call it Twitter. It's never going to be anything except Twitter. Facebook, Instagram, Discord, our text list, email list. And all of these different segments of our fan base had different sections of this puzzle. And they had to work together in order to build the puzzle. In a couple of hours, they had done this, and this, and this, and this, and the fact that they were able to do this themselves and shared it on social media even before we shared it on social media gave them ownership over the project in a way that we had never seen before on our social media. The fans got so excited because this was their album now. It wasn't our album anymore, it was their album. So this idea of collaborating is extremely important. And when you force collaboration, it builds a community in a very different way. And I can't really reveal any of these yet, but I'm starting to work with different movements and different political parties on how to do this really effectively in order to build some stronger communities. So in order to give us a break, we are going to play some games together. Everyone take out your phone. Please scan this. And when I say games, it's like kind of gamey, kind of, I'm going to quiz you on everything I've said so far. Okay. I'm going to give you a second to scan this. And once you're in there, you will start to see this question. When you think of the word activism, what is the first emotion that comes to mind? Feel free. Okay, we've got passion up there. That's great. Energy. Oh, okay, so many. Great. Ooh, a lot of people. So this is a word cloud. So if people are saying the same word, those words are going to be bigger. Sometimes there are some really funny ones. Dancing. I like that one. I like that one a lot. Oh, that's nice. Someone wrote Amplify. Okay, you didn't. This is just sucking up. You didn't need to write Adam. Pride. I really like that one. Pride, power, change, passion. I like how positive all of these words are. Sometimes when I do this, when I go to a college, the words are like anger, sadness, giving up, frustration, and we see some of those, but the ones that are concentrated in the center are power, passion, pride, energy, change, empowerment, strength. I love that that's how everyone is feeling about activism. Amazing. Okay, who coined the term carbon footprint? I did not answer this question so far in this talk, but I'm very curious to hear what people say. The options are BP, Jimmy Carter, Carl Sagan, NASA, and Jimmy Buffett. Okay, answers are coming in. BP is in the lead right now. Jimmy Carter close behind. Carl Sagan and Jimmy Carter are tied. Jimmy Buffett has a solid 8%. For those of you who put Jimmy Buffett, do you know who Jimmy Buffett is? That's why you put him. Okay. You're just trying to mess with what's going on. I see. Okay, so I'm very happy to say that BP is the correct answer. BP is an oil company that coined the term carbon footprint in order to put the responsibility of climate change on us as individuals instead of taking responsibility as a corporation. Boo. Yeah. Okay, not an insignificant amount said Carl Sagan, Jimmy Carter, NASA. Jimmy Buffett is still at 9. It's growing? You already know that's not the right answer. Come on, yeah! Yeah. Can someone take a picture of this, please? This is so good. R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett. Okay, next one. Before it gets any higher, I can't let this get any higher. This is crazy. Okay, Tracy, this one's a test. Tracy Chapman's fast car reached what number on the Billboard Hot 100 when it was redone? Who didn't read the question? When it was redone by country artist Luke Combs. Okay. Yeah, people are undoing their answer, I see. This is why you got to read the whole question. But yes, we were listening. How about this? Okay, so I'll give you a little context for this one. In the book, we talk about this idea of AJR fans falling into one of two categories. Either you love Dungeons and Dragons or you love musical theater. And this is not based on any scientific study, but this is based on what I've seen people talking about online and the kind of feeling that I get when I meet fans. They either love musical theater or Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, okay, musical theater is in first, both. Okay, we've got some neither. Ooh, Dungeons and Dragons is in last. Maybe I need to recheck my gut feeling on this one. Okay, this is interesting. This was more for me to get information. This is going to be put out in a study in a couple of weeks, so thank you for answering this. All right, my favorite pastrami in New York City. Favorite pastrami in New York City. Oh my God, none of these stupid? What? Okay, so for anybody who put none of these stupid, which pastrami in New York City is your favorite? Wait, what is Liedman's? Oh, in the Bronx, I see. Where's the Bronx? That's good. Okay, I feel like Katz's had to come in first. Pastrami Queen is super underrated, come on. Has anyone actually had Pastrami Queen? Okay, a couple people. We need more pastrami on the Upper West Side, honestly. Like, come on, we need more pastrami on the Upper West Side. The 2nd Avenue Deli, they should open a 2nd Avenue Deli on the Upper West Side. If anyone can make that happen, please make that happen. All right, when you hear this song, what is the first word? Oh, that means I'm supposed to play something on the piano. Not that. Okay, thank goodness the artist is actually up here. So, yeah, wow. Millie Bobby Brown made it up here. My goodness. Wait, I need to take this in for a second. Jesus Christ. So the intention was the Coldplay song. So thank you for all of these answers. This was really entertaining for me. The Coldplay song, so I wanted to play that because Coldplay is one of these artists that has been taking on climate in a big way in their touring. And there's some parts of it that I vehemently disagree with, some parts of it I agree with. When you're biking, has any of you been to a Coldplay concert recently? No? They have this thing on their last tour where you can actually rent a bike in the audience, and they pretend like it's actually powering the stage. Doesn't really work, but they also do some good things. They do all of these kind of carbon offset work, which is not necessarily a good thing, but that's a topic for another book. But yeah, Coldplay, alongside Billie Eilish, is one of these artists that has really taken climate messaging and made it really important to them. And they've done it in a rather authentic way, which is another kind of piece of this storytelling thing, is artists, and this is not what the book is about, just to clarify, artists, when they're advocating for climate themselves, sometimes they just focus on the work that they're doing, right? How they can decarbonize their own tours, how they can do work in order to make sure the records that they're putting out and the merch they're putting out is more sustainable. That's fine. That's great. But the real power here is how we can activate the fan base. Coldplay, I don't even know how many people are in the band. It's Chris Martin and the other people. Chris Martin's great, by the way. We met him a couple years ago. He is fantastic. But people like Chris Martin and Billie Eilish and others, Shawn Mendes does it too, Jack Johnson does it too, Dave Matthews Band, they've really spent a long time trying to educate their fans about climate, and it's really inspiring. Okay, how long is the original version, not the radio edit, of Piano Man by Billy Joel? Wow, okay, you were actually listening. Very impressive, very impressive. Yeah. Oh, okay. 305 went down to 0. I thought people were going to get tricked by that one because that's what it says in The Entertainer. But okay, we can move on really quickly. I think there's one more. How much are you enjoying yourself so far? Here are the options. I'm really surprised that this one is not doing better. I'm so glad my mother doesn't live with me. That's really, okay, I'm having a great time. Can someone take a picture of this one too? I need to use this to try and sell tickets to the shows later in the tour. Perfect. Okay, only 3% is out of 6 out of 10. That's pretty good, come on. All right, live. We're gonna move on to another topic, live. And this is one of the most important topics in the book. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. The live space. I can't remember what slide comes next. I'm not kidding. Oh yeah, now I remember. Again, you win a prize, theoretical prize, if anybody who can name this person. Jimmy Buffett is correct. Anybody? No, it is not Joseph Stalin. Yes, sociology. No, not Freud. You cheated. Yes, this is Emil Durkheim. Of course. Emil Durkheim wrote a number of books, but the book that I'm referencing is called The Elementary Forms of Religious Life. And he wrote about this idea called collective effervescence. Collective effervescence is one of my favorite phrases ever. And collective effervescence means, Izzy, you want to read this?
Yes. Collective effervescence, a process of synchronization and intensification of emotions among individuals that occurs during participation in collective rituals.
What the fuck does that mean? I'm going to show you what it means. And this song, God, I am sure I'm going to mess up this one. So please just play along with me, okay? We good? Oh, wait. One more time. Almost there. There we go. Oh my God. That was awful. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that is collective effervescence. That's the, oh, I forgot that was the meme. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. When everybody is doing the same thing and your mind starts to meld because you all know what that feeling is of singing that song. Thank you for singing with me. Okay, this is also collective effervescence. And this. And this, and really, this. This is collective effervescence. So it can be used in many different ways. But collective effervescence is that energy. Now, live events in movements need to take more advantage of collective effervescence. And the organization I run is called Planet Reimagined, and we did a really big study to figure out how we can take the energy that's happening at a Taylor Swift concert or an AJR concert and use it for good. The people who are here who were at our concert on this last tour, you saw that you could take all of these different kinds of actions when you were there in person at our shows. You could register to vote, you could sign petitions, you can engage in all different types of things. You can even phone bank on site. We gave you pre-written scripts where you can phone bank on site to advocate for specific issues. So I want to take this moment of being live, in person, use collective effervescence, and use it for good. This is going to take me 30 seconds to explain what we are going to be doing. So we are going to be advocating for something that I've been working on for like a year and a half, 2 years with Planet Reimagined. Oh, I forgot something. This is what movements look like. This is what campaigns look like. This is what building stuff in the movement space looks like. It's angry, it's frustrated, it's fighting for something. Or it looks like this. How many of you have been to something like this? Yeah, the food is terrible. Like, why? It's just really horrendous. But movement building and getting people in person lives either here or here, most of the time. But the goal is to try and bring people here, because this is a very different kind of feeling. Imagine if you were doing good by being in a place like this. Okay, now back to the train of thought that I had before. Finding common ground. This is what we've been working on for about a year and a half, 2 years. We did a really big analysis on the oil and gas land in the United States. And I know it's surprising me talking about oil and gas land because I'm a climate person. But these little gray dots over here are all of the oil and gas federal leases in the United States. We did an analysis to see if we could put solar panels on top of where current oil and gas leases were on previously disturbed land. We found really high solar potential. The orange is high potential, the yellow is low potential, very high potential. This is wind. Dark blue is high potential, light blue is low potential. Because we found so much potential, I was saying potential too much. I'll fix that the next show. Because we found so much potential, we decided to work with Congress, with both parties, with Republicans and Democrats in equal numbers, to develop this bill that has been introduced in the Senate as of a couple of weeks ago with both Republican and Democrat support. And it is called the Co-Location Energy Act. Now, this bill, in the midst of this current administration, to have Republican and Democrat support on a climate issue is extremely rare. It's very, very rare. And so, thank you. What we need to do, even though we have support on both sides of the aisle, is we need to help other members of Congress and other senators get excited about this and co-sponsor. So, here's our next activity. I'm going to ask you to scan this. Together, we are going to use the collective effervescence in this room, and using this incredible thing called Democracy.io, we are going to very easily write to your individual members of Congress, write to your senators, write to your representatives, and ask them to support this legislation. Again, you don't have to do this, but I'm asking you, please, come on, just do it. So I'm going to give you a second. This is what's going to come up on your screen. Your street address, city, and zip code, and this will allow the system to put in the people who represent you. Then on the next screen, it's going to look like this. This was for me. Good old Jerry Nadler. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Senator Charles Schumer. Chuck. So many, wow, okay. But they're still in office, so we need to get them to support it. So I checked all three. You can check whatever you want. Then you have this space where you can write a note. You can put whatever subject you want. You can say clean energy. You can say Adam told me to do this. You can literally write whatever you want. But the message include something to the effect of this. Please support the Co-Location Energy Act. I'm going to leave this up for a minute. This is the act that we worked on, and this will try and convince other members to sign on to it, to be co-sponsors. Now, in total, this entire segment of the show is taking 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, all of you learned about the issue, all of you learned about something that you can support in a really concrete way, and all of you have actually done the thing of supporting it. Most people in this country know who the president is. Most people in this country do not know who their representative is. Most people in the country barely know who their senators are. They definitely don't know who their local representation is. This is a really great way to start engaging on all different kinds of issues. When you are done and have hit submit, please raise your hand. Okay, so we're at about like 10% of the audience. So I'm going to keep babbling until a few more people are done. So one of the things that we found out in this study is that as much as it's important to support federal legislation like this one, you can have so much more impact if you're supporting at the local level. Your community boards, your mayors, your assembly members, they're the ones who are deciding what zoning looks like, what local transportation looks like, where the next petrochemical plant is going to be. This is where all of these decisions happen. And people can't even name the people who are representing them. People are really frustrated with the current administration. People are really angry with the current administration. People are so fed up with the slide to authoritarianism in the United States. And there is a way to combat that. And that is at the local level. That is in your cities, that is in your states. And there is so much potential for action there. So one of the things that we're doing in order to harness this collective effervescence at every stop of the tour is outside. You can go visit Caleb, who works at Planet Reimagine. He has a table outside where you can go and support a local initiative. This just passed the New York State Senate, the Plastic Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act. It's a really important bill. Whether you like the governor of New York or you don't like the governor of New York, she has been pretty strong on climate. Congestion pricing in New York City has been really effective. Whether you love that or you hate it, it has been really effective. These kinds of local climate issues are incredibly, incredibly important. Now, I want to end, and I was told like 10 minutes before that we're doing a Q&A afterwards, and you filled out questions, so that's fun. I want to end kind of this whole conversation by talking about this book. Now, this book would never have happened without a whole bunch of people, but one person in particular. And that person is my co-author, Heather Landy. Heather is incredible, and funny enough, completely kind of out of coincidence, I didn't know this, that she is a co-worker of Charlie's. So she gets to spend every day with Charlie. Congratulations, Charlie. But But Heather and I took a long time to figure out what the goal was for this book, right? For us, ultimately, the goal is not for this book to be read. It's meant to be used. It's meant to be a guidebook. It's meant to be a blueprint. It's meant to be step-by-step instructions, both for people who want to start to engage in movements and movements that are struggling to try and find new approaches. In the Democratic Party, that's exactly what's going on. We are struggling trying to find new approaches. We failed miserably in November. This book is meant to be something that you can internalize and change the way that you think about the world and the way that you can engage with the world. So please, one more round of applause for Heather Landy, who has been an incredible partner. And thank you all so much for listening to this show, which is, I promise, going to get better for Washington, D.C., which is the second show on the tour. But again, this was meant to be, let me throw a whole bunch of stuff at the wall and figure out what works and what doesn't work. And you have been an incredible audience. Thank you so, so much. And we're going to do a Q&A. Yes. Okay, cool. Thank you, Celeste. And thank you to 92NY for having me. Okay, so we have 3 questions that were curated. So if any of you wrote ridiculous questions, they did not make it through the process. Okay, there are no names on here. So if you're willing to, would you raise your hand if I find out that you asked this question? Why did you pick Amplify as the title? Is it to amplify the voices or impact? Amazing. Oh, that is so cool. Thank you so much. You have made a shirt that has the cover of the book. Oh, and it has a quote from the book on it also. That is so nice. Thank you. So Amplify felt like the perfect balance between a music word and a movement word. And it was a struggle, but I actually stole the title. So Planet Reimagined did this whole study that I was talking about, and it was called Amplify. And so we stole the title of the book from Planet Reimagined. I asked Planet Reimagined, and they said it was fine. So thank you for the question. How do you communicate your message to people who aren't ready or willing to listen? Who asked that question?
Back here.
Hello. Thank you for this question. It's a great question. There are a lot of people who aren't ready to listen and aren't willing to listen. And for these people, it's much more important to just have a conversation with them. I'm not trying to push a message on them. There's one story from the book that I think is probably my favorite chapter in the book, and I go and sit down with Glenn Beck for 3 or 4 hours. Heather and I flew down to Texas to have a conversation with him. Do we know who Glenn Beck is? No. Okay, Glenn Beck. Imagine Tucker Carlson, but bald. Worse or better? Same, honestly. Yeah, Tucker, he's kind of like the previous generation of Tucker Carlson. 90s, yeah. And in order to kind of go down there, we needed to share a bit about what we were going to talk about, but it was a 4-ish hour discussion where we talked about everything from family to religion to creativity. God, he is obsessed with Lincoln. He has like a 10-foot portrait of Lincoln in his office. He said some other really interesting things, which I'm not going to share right now. But it took about 4 hours, and finally, just from having a conversation, we were able to agree on one thing. Literally one thing in 4 hours, but that was enough for me. And the thing we were able to agree on, we talked a lot about energy in the United States, because that's kind of where my background is. And he said, you know, I use natural gas to power my house, and it's completely clean. And I said, natural gas is completely clean? And he said, yeah, it's natural. And I said, why do you think that? And he said, oh, everybody knows that. And we started to have a conversation about how methane, which is natural gas, is 87 times stronger than carbon dioxide in terms of heating the earth. There's huge amounts of leaks in methane pipelines across the United States and across the world. And the one thing that Glenn Beck and I were able to agree on is that we need to start plugging the leaks in methane pipelines. Super niche, super specific, took 4 hours to get there, absolutely worth it if he's gonna share that with his audience. So that's how I communicate with people who are not ready to listen or who vehemently disagree with me. I will just talk to them until they're exhausted and say, okay, fine. Okay. Ooh, I like this one. Last question. How can 3 10-year-olds help improve the climate? Can those 10-year-olds way in the back get front row seats to your show? Is that you guys? Oh my God, you made a sign. Oh my God, you guys are so cute. Oh. How can 3 10-year-olds help improve the climate? Okay, the number one thing that kids can do is you can bother your parents over and over and over again until they give in. And we actually had this happen at some of our shows. We had young people who were under 18 take these clipboards and run around and try and convince other people to sign petitions and register to vote. There was a reason why I had Miles open the show, right? He made you listen. He was creative, he was interesting, and he was so cute, right? So the fact that you can go do that and bother your parents over and over again about what they're doing for the climate, I promise you that will convince them. But can these 3 10-year-olds way in the back get front row seats to your show? Why don't you come talk to me after? You all have been incredible. Thank you for coming out on a Monday night, like ridiculous. Thank you for coming out of your homes on a Monday night. You all are amazing. You all have a copy of the book. Now please go out and do something with it. I'm Adam. I love you all.